September, October last year, and what happens is the cane returns from the old stool. Now this particular farmer, Keith Franetovich, has fertilised in the conventional fashion, applying a solid granular fertiliser, an NPK fertiliser, to his crop. And then at around about Christmas time, late December, he applied 2 trial strips in this block, which are quite obvious and which you'll see on the film, where he top dressed on top of the conventional fertiliser with a litre of forest and half a litre of super forest per hectare, probably in about 120 litres of water per hectare. The result is quite obvious looking at it, and in talking to Keith, he is of the opinion that the crop in the treated rows is probably fairly close to double what it is in the untreated sections. Now that would mean an increase in yield of probably between 10 and 15 tonnes per acre. Current values, that's worth probably an extra $500 per acre, stacked up against the cost of application of about $20 per acre, or even slightly less. So the forest here has produced an extremely sound investment and a dramatic boost in yield. The cane is the size and density of the stool, and one of the things that stands out here is where forest has been applied, is that the stool is very even right through to the end. And if you have a look in the untreated sections, you'll find that, and it's quite normal in a crop of cane, that the end stools taper off. You get a loss of production here in these treated rows. The stools, the healthy stools, full vigorous stools, come right out to the end, and that's quite notable. The stick thickness is greater on the average than what it is in the untreated areas, and the sticks are of course quite a bit longer, which is where the extra yield comes from. The other noticeable thing is that the stools are very dense. We've got a lot of sticks in the stool, and that's the secret of growing a heavy crop of sugarcane and getting up. Here is fairly obvious. You can see that the stools in all of these untreated rows, the rows that have been fertilised conventionally, are nowhere near as dense. The cane, of course, is much shorter. The other thing that occurs when you get a crop of cane standing as open as this is, that you get quite a lot more grass growth, and of course that grass then robs the crop of cane of fertiliser value as well. So if you can boost the crop and get quick coverage, and the crop covers in quickly, you eliminate grass and you lose less fertiliser to it. One of the other important things about this trial was that through from November to March in this growing season, we experienced one of the driest spells in this area for many years, and Keith informed me that right through those dry spells, the rows that were treated with forest were quite outstanding compared with the rest of the crop. They held on to their condition much better. But looking at this here, there would be no doubt about the fact that those forest treated strips would be approximately double the yield. This is the second of the 2 trial strips, and you can see that the results are exactly the same as in the first area. Very good, heavy, dense crop, and very little, if any, grass up the interspace. Here is the dramatic difference in colour, and this particular trial has confirmed my theory here in this area anyway, and certainly we've seen it in other crops, but this is the most outstanding one in sugarcane, that the use of forest liquids in conjunction with conventional commercial fertiliser certainly ensures a much more substantial release of nitrogen, and this particular trial here certainly proves it. A block of plant cane which has been grown exclusively using a forest system. Ian was our first farmer to grow, or to attempt to grow sugarcane exclusively using forest and no other fertiliser, and we have here a total application of 5 litres per hectare. 1 litre applied at the time of planting, sprayed in through the planter system, and followed up with 2 applications of each of 2 litres per hectare as a foliar spray. And the result is very, very pleasing. It would be as good as you would expect given the season. This crop was non-irrigated, and it would be as good as you'd expect from any non-irrigated crop of cane grown with a conventional fertiliser. Even now at this late stage, with the crop nearing maturity, it's obviously got a lot of growing to do yet. You'd agree with that, Ian? Yeah, it's still growing like crazy, so there's no nitrogen deficiency here at all, no sign of it. It's doing very well, and it's a very heavy, robust standard cane in good condition, and at 5 litres of forest per hectare, it certainly has been a very economical crop to grow. The other interesting aspect here is that Ian used no other chemical products at all. When cane is normally planted, there are a variety of other insecticides and fungicides that are used to prevent diseases that are fairly common in the industry. And in this case, Ian chose to plant only with forest, depending on its ability to control disease as well, to give him this result. And overall,